Governor Gavin Newsom is now calling his city's homeless encampments unacceptable, which is odd since he's the guy who, made them acceptable, turning sidewalks into red carpet events for drug addicts, thieves, and unemployed CNN anchors. On Monday, he urged cities to ban the camps from sidewalks, parks, and other public areas. So after years of denying the problem, he's now pretending to fix it.
Greg Gutfeld didn't just criticize Gavin Newsom. He tore through his carefully polished image with the sharpest sarcasm and precision. What looked like another night of comedy turned into a full political demolition job. Gavin, the smooth-talking, gel-haired governor of California, known for his perfect smile and even more perfect talking points, wasn't ready for what hit him. And it hit hard. Gutfeld started without a warm-up. No build-up. Just straight into it, like someone lighting a match in a room full of gasoline. The result? Flames. Not the kind you see on stage lights, but the kind that burn through careers, reputations, and false narratives. California under Newsom has become a walking contradiction. A state that claims to be the future of America, but looks more like a warning sign with every passing day. Tent cities stretch across blocks. Crime is out of control. Small businesses are shutting down. Tech companies are packing up and leaving. And through it all, Gavin keeps smiling, keeps posing, keeps pretending everything is fine. That's what triggered Gutfeld. The gap between reality and performance, between what Gavin says and what Californians are living through. And Gutfeld didn't just notice it, he broadcasted it. He mocked how Gavin is angry not because things are bad, but because people are starting to notice. It's like a kid who isn't sorry he cheated, just sorry he got caught. Cities are falling apart, but Gavin's upset that the rest of the country finally sees it. That's not leadership. That's damage control disguised as concern. And Gutfeld didn't stop there. He compared Newsom's press conferences to fashion shoots. It's always perfectly styled, perfectly lit, perfectly rehearsed. But behind those photo ops is a state collapsing. Gutfeld pointed out how Gavin always talks about freedom and morality, while presiding over a place where people don't feel safe to walk down their own streets, where stores have become crime scenes, where families are leaving, not because they want to, but because they have to. The cost of living is through the roof. Taxes are unbearable. And yet Gavin acts like California is the promised land. Gutfeld tore through that illusion. He painted a picture of a man selling paradise while standing in the middle of a disaster. He brought up Gavin's COVID response. Remember when the whole state was locked down? Schools closed. Businesses bankrupt. But Gavin went out dining at a fancy restaurant with no mask. That moment summed up his entire approach. Rules for everyone else, exceptions for him. Gutfeld didn't have to shout. He just said what everyone was already thinking. The hypocrisy wasn't subtle. It was right in the spotlight, just like Gavin. Likes it. Then came the punch about homelessness. Gavin once promised to fix it. He said it was a disgrace. He spent billions. And what changed? Nothing. In fact, it got worse. Homeless encampments now block sidewalks, parks, and highways. Gutfeld called it out for what it was. Empty promises wrapped in expensive press releases. It's not just a problem, it's proof that Gavin's leadership is all talk. But Gutfeld didn't only stick to the past. He looked at where Gavin wants to go. The whispers of a presidential run. The ambition to take the California model nationwide. That's when Gutfeld turned serious. Because if California is the future, then America is in trouble. He called Gavin a salesman for chaos. A man trying to export the very policies that have already failed on the state level. And what's worse, he's good at it. He's charming, he's smooth, he sounds smart. But the results don't lie. He explained how businesses are running from California, not toward it. 'Cause they're tired of being taxed into oblivion. Tired of being regulated into the ground. Tired of watching their employees get robbed on the way to work. And while the rich move into gated neighborhoods, the middle class disappears. Gavin says he's fighting for working people, but those people are packing up U-Hauls and heading. East Gutfeld highlighted how Gavin criticizes other states, calls them backwards. Cruel, uneducated, while his own state is crumbling. He bashes Texas and Florida for their policies, but in those states, schools are open, crime is lower, and families can afford to live. Gutfeld didn't need a punchline. He just held up the facts and let them do the talking. And he was ruthless with the comparisons. He said California looks like a mansion from the outside, clean lawns, shiny windows, but step inside, and you'll find mold, cracked walls, and a broken foundation. It looks good on Instagram. It's falling apart. In real life, that, he said, is Gavin's California. Stage production with no substance behind the curtain. When Gutfeld brought up how Gavin tries to play both sides, being progressive enough for the media, but moderate enough for national donors, he said it's like watching a guy change costumes every 5 minutes. One moment he's a climate hero, banning gas cars. The next, he's asking oil companies why gas is so expensive. Gutfeld joked that Gavin could bring down the price of oil just by squeezing his hair. But under the jokes was a real message. Gavin's style is polished. His words are perfect. His media strategy is sharp, but his policies, they're a mess. And Gutfeld didn't just list them. He tore through them. Education, California students are falling behind. Infrastructure. Roads are crumbling. Public safety, cops are quitting. And crime is rising. Gutfeld showed how Gavin cares more about appearances than outcomes. Then he hit on the national angle. If Gavin makes it to the national stage, if he brings his model of leadership to the entire country, it won't just be California that suffers, it'll be everyone. Gutfeld called it Californiization. A model built on buzzwords, not results. He called Gavin the face of a movement that cares more about controlling language than fixing problems. He talked about how Gavin vetoed a bill that would have made it easier to remove dangerous homeless encampments. Why? Not because he disagreed, but because it already violated another rule. Gutfeld said, "That's the heart of it, Gavin. Always sounds like he has a reason. But those reasons are just excuses. Because if he really wanted change, it would have happened already." He pointed out that even Gavin's own supporters are losing patience. Cities are fed up. Voters are waking up. The glitter is wearing off. And Gutfeld's roast wasn't just funny, it was a warning. A reminder that behind the camera-ready smile is a record that can't be ignored. And when you shine a light on it, like Gutfeld did, the cracks become impossible to hide. He ended the segment not with yelling, not with outrage, but with clarity. He looked into the camera and said, "We see you, Gavin, not out of hate, out of truth." And that's what made it land. Because it wasn't about scoring points. It was about exposing the difference between what Gavin says and what he does. Between the story he tells and the reality people live. This takedown wasn't just about California. It was about leadership, about honesty, about what happens when politics becomes more about acting than doing. And Gutfeld, with every line, every smirk, and every punchline, reminded people that you can only hide behind image for so long. Eventually, the truth catches up. And when it does, it doesn't shout. It doesn't scream. It just walks in calmly and tells the story, just like Gutfeld did, and Gavin. Somewhere, behind another press conference, another soundbite, another. Perfect Sudi knows it too. The truth is louder than the spin, and it just went live. Greg Gutfeld didn't hold back when he dissected Gavin Newsom's political record further. He dug into the governor's national ambitions, saying it's not just California on the line anymore, now it's the whole country. Because Newsom isn't content with being governor of a failing state. He wants more. He wants to take the same broken model and apply it nationwide. And that, Gutfeld said, is terrifying. Not because Newsom is loud or extreme, but because he's polished. Polished enough to hide the damage under charm and smiles. That's what makes him dangerous. He pointed to the way Newsom lectures the rest of the country about inclusion, equity, and justice, while basic systems in his state are collapsing. Gutfeld mocked the idea that Newsom should be giving advice to anyone. He joked that California is the only place where a governor can destroy the middle class and still get invited to cocktail parties.